Bulldog here. I've had a few people ask me how I do my texture trees, so here I am sharing with you my technique on how I do my trees. First of all, you need a marker. I use my Sharpie. I have a paintbrush. It is clean, but it looks disgusting. Everybody knows what my paintbrushes look like when they come here. A stiff bristle brush. My favourite red gold rusty coloured paint. Some magical micas. A Lindy stamp cake. A palette knife. My favourite tool today. Black paint. Now I've got it in a dabber bottle. Impasto. A soggy sea sponge in water. A clean-ish for your paint. Clean-ish. Clean water. And secret ingredients. PVA glue. Okay, so the very first thing you're going to do is freehand draw a tree, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Scribbles, doodling, whatever. This is just the guideline. Alright, nice and simple. Okay. Now take your magical markers. I'm using cocoa bean. And a pot of water. Saturate your brush. Tap off your excess. And just touching the micas, you can drag some colour through. Alright, now it doesn't have to be perfect because this is underneath. Okay. That. Okay, the next step, very simple. I don't even dry it, I leave it wet. The next step is taking your PVA. Now I've got this nice little fine tip on my bottles. Can you see them? Okay. And just drawing your lines. Now with your PVA, you need to make sure it's fairly thick. If it's too watery, it'll sort of go all over the place and wherever it likes. So I have found Helmer's craft glues are really, really good. But I actually prefer an industrial type PVA, so a woodworking glue, because they're nice and thick too. I use Weld Bond. Not everybody seems to be able to find that, so look around, have a play. Okay, so you can see I've just done it really, really rough. If you want to drag your lines out a little bit more, you can do that. No perfection here. Okay, now the one tool I did forget to mention on my list was heat gun. Okay, so if I left this to dry on its own, it would just dry clear and flat. But the texture comes from the heat. When using heat for anything like this, please take into consideration that you're going to get fumes and such, so always work in a well ventilated space. So I know that took a bit of time, but the more heat you give it, the better the textured effect. It is quite hot still, so just be careful not to burn yourself. Okay, and you can see the browns come through, which is really nice, and because these are mica powders, you get this nice glitz about it. Okay, so the next thing you can do is add a bit of black. Now I've got acrylic paint in just a dabber bottle, and you can freehand it like that, but if you don't want it so grungy and dark, just use your dry paint brush and just put it on wherever you like. Now if you're happy with a fairly flat tree, this is fine just to leave it like this. You could even put some gold rub and buff over it or something, even a bit of the rusty paint. Jump up here. Alright, do that. But if you really want it to be more three-dimensional, use your impasto. Back of the palette knife, put it straight over the top, quite rough. Could of course just do the impasto, but I like the PVA underneath because it'll give me some low areas as well as some high areas. Use your branches, just use the very edge. Same again when heating this product, it is quite smelly. So work in a really well ventilated space. My studio space has got a double glass door right in front of me, so I get lots of fresh air coming through. I've also got a fan on at the moment. Okay, and again, heat it. If you leave the impasto to dry on its own, it will dry semi-transparent, but I force dried this, and of course you can see it's quite puffy, so I'm just patting down. Don't push it, just pat it. No pushing, patting only. Okay. Because if you push it, you'll find that it's still wet underneath, and you'll just drag the whole piece away. So pat it down nice and flat. If you want to give it a bit more heat, you can do that. So I'm quite happy with that. No, pasto everything. Okay. Now I'm putting some of my red gold paint in here. Just a dollop will do. I'm taking my wet sea sponge. Some of that water. Now you can be a lot more controlled than I have been here with my spread of colour and such, but because it's just a demo to show you the technique, I'm not too fussed about it. So I'm still getting all this beautiful brown mica through the background, and you can still see the outline of my sketch. Force dry that a little bit. Now using the best tool that you've got, finger, really lightly. Remember, it's still quite soft underneath. You don't have to use black, you could use brown if you wanted to, but I like the black because it sort of gives a charred look. So there you go. There's my tree. So there you go, nice and simple, a fun technique, get your hands dirty. The applications are endless of what you could use it for. I've used it on flooded canvases, I've used it on chipboard pieces. Go have fun, explore, experiment, get your hands dirty. Bye!